Hey guys, it's Sharon with Little Britain Company, and welcome to the channel. I am going to jump right in. Today I want to do library pockets. Some of you know that I am, in my other world, a librarian. I also work in technology. So library pockets are very, very near and dear to me. And I've made some to get ready for this. And I have to say, once you start these, they are super hard to stop. And I'm laughing at myself because they are super hard to stop. So, I don't want to do that. I want to do that. You can see my big shot right here. Okay, so I'm going to jump right in and start giving you all numbers and information. Hopefully that helps. I'm using 8.5 by 11. And this is about 80 pounds. I want to say it's 80, not 65. It's pretty thick. You can use the 65. That's perfectly fine. This is kind of just what I had, so I went with it. Wait, I don't want to use this one. I'm using the wrong guillotine. I'm going to use this one, my E-Craft. I think I already have it set at 8. Yeah, I did. Okay. So I'm going to start by cutting this. This is the 11. This is 8.5, and this is my 11. So I'm going to make it almost a square. I'm going to put that piece aside. I may want to use it. And then on this side, I want to cut it to 4. Don't do that. You know what? Let me do that. 4.5. The reason I was keeping it right there is that once or twice I flipped it and cut the other side, and it works out fine. It's just, not what I wanted. Okay. So I now have my bigger and my smaller ones, and they're going to end up looking like this. So you can see one's just going to be a little bit, I'm still going to make library pockets, but depending on what you need. And then you can make equal numbers of these because you're cutting them at the same time. Now, when I made my mistake and I cut it along the wrong side, that's the size I ended up with. Let me show you the 3 differences. So if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. I still got this size, which was the original size. But instead of that size, I got this mini one. So you can kind of see how they all work in by 1/2 inch. I really like the mini ones. I haven't decorated them yet, but I will. And at the very end, when I show you everything that I made, I will probably have these nice and decorated and ready to show also. But they're all done exactly the same way other than cut a little bit smaller. So this one, I'll give you some dimensions at that time. All right, let's move forward to what we got. These are the first 2 that I showed you. So I'm going to take these, and now it's really quick. Okay, it's so quick and easy. So now I'm just going to score, and so you can see a little bit better. I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. And I like to flip it. That is honestly, I could score at 1/2 inch and 4 inches, and it should be exactly right. It's just the way I like to do it. I then flip it over. Again, this is just the way I do it. And I score at 3.5. Is that right? Yes. If I do it wrong, I do it wrong. I've been doing so many of these. I score at 3.5 and perfect. Thank goodness I remember it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and score these. And the reason I flipped it to score it is because I want to fold into the mountain for both of them if I can. All right, whoops, don't do it that way. So again, 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. Ooh, don't run away. My paper is running away. That's big, Brit. And then 3.5 inches. And by the way, oh my goodness, yeah, the summer has started around here in North Carolina. These would be the exact same measurements if you were doing one of the itty bitty ones, one of these little ones. Same scoring. same measurements. All right, that's done. This is why this is so easy. It's really nice if you're gonna, if you're doing these for junk journals, if you're doing them for yourself, if you're doing these to make gift pockets. This is a really cool thing, especially the small one. This is really cool to include in a card with your gift card in there. These, oh, let me do this part before I do that part. These are really fun. I'll do it this way. Let me keep changing my mind about how I'm going to do it. I swear. All right, whatever. These are super fun if you're doing blind date with a book. And as a librarian, blind date with a book is one of my favorite things to make. Okay, so right now I'm going to cut off these long sections. You can see the short side, the long side. So on my long side, which should be, what, 4.5, 5 inches? I will measure it. 4.5, yep. So this side's 4.5. And on my long side, I'm literally just going to cut these sides off. And if you like to do like little stamped sentiments sometimes, this one is being annoying, but that's okay. You won't see it. Then these are perfect to keep and to use those, just have a little bucket or envelope. And then I'm going to corner that a little bit because this top part's going to be folded in. All right. So with this one, I wanted to fold it with the mountain. On these sides, I do want to fold with the valley. There's actually a reason. You can fold on the mountain if you want to. It slightly changes how it's going to look. All right, that's one. And then this is the regular size one. I'm going to put these aside for my sentiment strips where I keep those. It's a great way to add this. Yeah, you just stamp right on those and you've got these great little ones. So again, now that you've seen the close-up, I'm cutting like right on the, let's do that again. I'm cutting right on the inside of this, but I'm not going to cut on the outside of it. So I'm not cutting straight down the middle. I'm really kind of hugging that inside. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Kinda. And the truth is, you're not going to see that bottom part. If you mess up a little bit on the bottom part, no one's ever going to see it. Look, it's completely covered. But I really want to get my top part nice and neat. Once I'm past that, I'm golden. Okay. Once I get here, I do my little corner thing. Move those out of the way. And then I'm just going to do this little snip here. Get there. Okay. Ready to fold. So super easy. What I like to do before I fold it, although I'm sure you can do it either way, what I like to do before I fold it is I'm going to go ahead and do my corners. But I do not want a notch. I want a corner. I'm just going to do both of them right away so that I am good to go. You don't even have to. But I got my dimensions, by the way, because I'm a librarian. I found one of my older books that still had a library pocket. Most of them these days don't. But some of our older ones still have it, and I just took it apart. And now, this is why I like to fold it this side into the valley. And if you're not familiar with that, let me make sure that, because not everybody's familiar. When you're doing a scoring, you end up with a valley, which is, let's go even closer. This is your valley, and you end up with your mountain. And normally we want to fold into our mountain like I would fold this way. That gives it more strength. But with this one, if I do it that way, for some reason, it gives me just a teensy bit less room, and this puckers up a little bit. Now, if you want to use these for something like hot cocoa packets, that is perfect. That's what you want. So I would fold it with the mountain. And it's going to give you just that little extra room. With this one, I like them to be kind of flat, so I fold it with the valley. And because you won't be bending these much, once it's on, it's on. I don't worry about it. All right, so there's one. And then number 2. And I'm going to go ahead and just spin it out of the way. I'm just going to spin away. And there you go. There you go. Now, I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to attach that. I'm going to glue them. Stuff going all over the place here. Sorry. So, there's one. Now, I will say my glue is great. You can absolutely use tape on these. These, I mean, you're trying to press down something. This is heavier than, or as heavy as 110 pound cardstock, if not heavier. So you're really trying to hold that in place. So I do often use my tape on these. So that one's glued. If I'm going to use the tape, I'll show you. Good gracious. So just use my good double-sided, there we go. Can get the thing back in the bottle. Sticky tape. I got a bunch of these a long time ago. Not a long time ago, but I got a bunch of these. I thought they were going to be a larger amount. It's very difficult sometimes with some of these companies to figure out what the sizing really is. And then I'm going to get both of those, and I'm just kind of getting pretty much to the corner. These are in the back, and if you want to decorate the back, if this is going to be something loose, or maybe it's going to be a hot cocoa pocket or a tea pocket, which are certainly something you can do with these, you may want to decorate the back, and that's cool. I don't decorate, but that one turned out to be a nice corner, so I'm going to move it up here where I can corner it. I'm not doing that for these. I'm not decorating the back only because I'm not going to use these as hot cocoa packets. My plan with these is in junk journals and cards, because I just think they're cool. I just think they're really fun. Okie dokie. Come on. It's being stubborn. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull off my tape. And make sure there's nothing sticking in there. And 1 and 2. And that is easier than your glue, quite frankly. And your tape's going to hold. Even now you can see there's a little bit of a pucker there. But it is much more pronounced if you do it the other way. All right, let me get this stuff off. And guys, now I'm at the stage to decorate. Now, often when I'm with you all, I've already chosen colors and things that I'm going to decorate with. So I haven't done that. I didn't do that with this one. I don't know why. I just didn't. So now I've just got to make some color choices like that. That might be good on the outside. I don't think it's gonna quite make it. Let's see what else we have. So I still have these papers left. I am really going through paper, by the way. I'm honestly kind of shocked at how much I still have left. Because I'm also thinking that these would be great in your blind date with a book, and you can put a recipe on the inside. But I'm also thinking that these are really cool to include in your actual cookbooks. You can leave one in there. This could act like your bookmark. So I'm kind of playing with a couple of different ideas. Those are my plain. What to use on this one. And I like to use different ones. All right, that's my last piece of that one, I think. My last full piece. So I have the chickens. And I have that one. I have lots of the bees left. I'm kind of wondering if I should do bees. And I like what's on the back of the bees too. All right. Let me make some decisions here. Decisions. So what I have been doing is pattern paper and then one of these sentiments. Let me see if I've got a sentiment I want to include. I've done a lot of these already. Maybe. Okay, let me show you guys what sentiment, oh my golly, you can't speak, sentiment cards I have. Got those. I think any of those would fit that one. And I've used some of these already, but that's okay. Like I haven't used gather at the table. That one might be really cute. This is, by the way, where's the big one? I want to do the big one first. Move that one out of the way. Because that covers a lot of it. That's not. I wonder. I just don't like it with the bees. I don't know why. No. How about that one? I'm going to go with that one. Yep. Let's do it. Okay. I mean, I could do that now. I like the chickens better. Okay. So I do have measurements for this, but quite frankly, I just find this quicker and easier. This is often what I do. I'm just going to measure here. I'm eyeballing it. And then I can square it up. And I'm going to get the biggest section. If I go this way. So I'm just thinking how am I going to get the biggest piece? And then my next one, there it is. Make sure I can cut that one off. Okay. Cute. And then that's going to go on there. Okay, I actually really like that. That's working out well. So with this one, that's all. I mean, honestly, that's all I have to do. Now, I'll tell you, because these are 1 inch, this looks to me like it's going to be 3 1/4 inches. And I think that is what I have written down. 3 1/4 by 1, 2, 3, 3 and a little bit more than 1/4. But not a half, like 3/8. So I have the glue pen in my mouth. I should not. So all I really need to do is do a quick glue down here. I'm going to put this back in because I think I'm going to go ahead and corner this one. Now, some of these, I'll show you. With some of these, I did all the corners. And then, or did I do it with all of them? I guess I did it with all of them. I thought for a minute I hadn't done that one. Pay no attention to that woman babbling behind the camera. Sorry. Oh, my gracious. Oh, isn't that cute? Here, so y'all can get in a little bit closer in on the action. All right. That is so cute. Now, although I need everything to go to the edge, I don't really actually get on there the right way. I got a sec. I have a second to reposition. There. That's what I like about the glue. I tell you, because once you put the tape down, whew, you are done. I think that's really cute. Okay, I like using the glue for that. I mean, I use both the tape and the glue. I have different things I use them for. Okay, so this top little bit, let me pick out the card. What you can see is I did different things that I felt matched the, some of them I made them matchy-matchy. Some of them I didn't because I liked how those two went together. With this one, I did not go matchy-matchy. I liked the flowers at the top. And same thing. This one just has, of course, the different background. I'm going to show you how to make these two. The cards that go inside. All right. So, but with the top part, I think with this one, I want to make it this. I think that's going to be cute. Yeah. I'm happy with this. I like the way that pulls it together and the chicken pulls the other one together. So, oh, I'm using up bees. I'm seriously going to have to do a special project with my bees because I hate using them up because I love them so much. So with this one, I'm just going to line it up here. Or you know what? Instead of my doing that, because this top part right here, because I'm going to do this a little bit, because this was pulled out of the book, it still has some adhesive on there, and it's making that slightly bumpy, which is changing sizing. And I don't want to change my sizing. Let's see. What did I just do? Oh, it's the other side I need. For a minute, I was just like, what the heck? Okay. So I'm going to make this. This is 1 inch. I'm going to make this 1.5 inches. I don't need to use up too much of it. There we go. At 1.5 inches. Get that out of the way. And now I know that I'm going to take this. You can cut this ahead of time. If you put everything together, you could absolutely cut this and attach it, and then, you know, attach everything and then just glue the back together, and, you know, bada boom, bada bang. I just do it this way. This is just my process. I was saying before about the glue, even though I need the glue to go to the corners and things, when I use my bone folder, it'll spread the glue. And I don't want the glue sticking out. All right, so I'm sticking this in, and I want to get it pretty much right before I use my bone folder. And I don't want to go too far down. This is just the one place where you have to be careful because you don't want the glue to attach to the inside of that one. Okay, done. That's how I do them. And you could absolutely do them differently. I mean, there's so many different ways you could do these. I just really like this. And I know that someone could use this. Let me put this is the hardest part. Getting this back in here. There you go. And look, if you used like some, a little sentiment on there, look how cute that is. Okay. So this one's ready. This one's good to go. And the next thing I want is a card to go in it. People can use this for whatever they want to. Now, sometimes I leave the card just as a card. I also have a library stamp, so I can do that. And I may do that before the final showing of everything, because I'll have a final video, like I said, of everything. So this is, I like this. I think this is perfectly fine. It's a way for you to pull something out and to really use the pocket. Journaling, you could put a picture in there in the top. See where it comes in like that. Put a name or date or something over there when you're pulling it out. Anyway, lots of stuff to do. Let me show you how to cut this one. So I use this cutoff. This is the piece that we cut off earlier. This is that when I was measuring from the 11.5, from the 11, and I measured out 8. So this is 3 inches. Is that right? Oh yeah, of course. If only my brain worked. So this is going to be 3 inches by 4 inches, I believe, is what I make it. No, I make it bigger. 3 by 4 1/4. I've got to come down to my, 3 by 4 1/4. But I don't have to really measure. I only have to measure the 4 1/4 because this is already good to go if I'm using the 11.5. So this one has to be 4 1/4. By the way, that makes those exactly the same size. So I get 2 from each of those pieces, which is super cool. And all you need to do is notch them. And I only notch the top, so it's a little bit more library-ish. But you could absolutely notch the bottom, and that's really cute too, especially when you pull it out and you see that you can have that whole sort of journaling thing. But this is the way I do it. To keep getting rid of my little debris. So now I have extras of these. What I really like about this is, remember, I end up making 2 of these that are for this size. I will make other ones because I have other kind of leftover papers that I'll use the skinnier ones for. Like this is my skinny one, and that's just not going to fit. It's close, super close, but it's not going to fit. So I'll use other scraps that I have to make the cards that go in these. But for these, I'm making 2 for each. And what I'll end up doing with those is I will probably cover one side, leave one side empty, and sell these in, because I do sell these in a separate pack. Maybe I'll do, maybe 5 in a pack that you can buy to add to your pockets that you want for your cookbooks. And what a cool thing to do what a cool thing to give if you're giving a gift. This goes with a book or with a cookbook that you're giving. I love it. Or if it's a special sentiment that you're doing, or you have a family recipe you want to share. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. So that's certainly one way to do it. And the other way is you can, like I said, I would cover one side and leave one side empty, like something like this. Now this one I actually even added a little border to. I was just playing around. I don't know if I like the border with it, but I did need to cover something up because there was a hole there. What did I do with the other one? So, and then with this one I didn't. I just left it nice bright yellow. So with this one, I am going to use some of my plain papers. Something to make it maybe stand out or something. I was thinking maybe this really pretty olive green in there. The other side is a very dark green. I don't love it. I'm going to use that olive green. Now, what I can tell you is that the numbers for this should be 4 1/8 by 2 7/8. Sure, let's try it. No, I don't want to. So I did measure these out, but again, I just find it so much easier. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut along that line, and it's going to give me less on the I know what's going to happen here. But this gives me just a wee bit extra paper to use. It's just going to make the internal part just slightly smaller than what I've been doing. Let's see how that works. Oh, that's perfect. Look at that. So now I was able to use that full length. It just gives me a little extra. I'm just a little extra. Maybe up there. Oh, no, I don't want to mark on this side. Ah, Sharon, what are you doing? There we go. Let's try that again. Now, I don't measure from the corner because the corner is, of course, smaller. I'm interested to see how close it came to the measurements that I actually have written down. Because I try. Okay, so that is 4. Yeah, that's 4, and that is approximately 3 7/8. 2 7/8. So for this one, I cut a little bit smaller, and I knew I was going to, so that's fine. I cut it just a touch smaller than, yeah. So my dimensions are correct. So you can do this 4 7/8 by 4 1/8. Just, I made it just a little bit smaller because I wanted to use that space with the with that hole at the top. That's usually cut off, of course, but I don't want to, because then you lose. It's almost like a full 1/2 inch. Cute. So this one has just more of a border. It doesn't have the 1/8, 16th of an inch. I think that is 1/8 of an inch that I left. All right. And my wonderful husband. I have a pin in my mouth. I have the pin in my mouth. My wonderful husband has been very busy this morning. He did the dishes. Ran the dishes. But he's also been out there doing laundry, and since it's a nice day, he's actually hanging the laundry on the line. Usually we have a deal. I put the laundry in, and then before I leave for work, because I leave earlier than he does, and then he puts the laundry out on the line when it's done before he leaves for work. And look, there it is. So you can pull this off, put your picture there, put your journaling here, and a title. Oh, I love it. All right, guys, what do you think? Please, please, please let me know in the comments. It really helps me make sure that I'm giving y'all what you want. And, well, and it absolutely helps the algorithm make sure that y'all are seeing when things come out. So let me line up all of what these wonderful things that our wonderful library pockets from today. And I hope you enjoyed it. Please, 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 if you're not subscribed, if you would subscribe, and please share the video if you feel like you enjoyed it. If you would share the video, I would really appreciate that. It helps the channel grow, helps us grow our algorithm. Don't forget to watch the ladies who are actually doing the full collaboration. And again, I thank them for letting me ride along just by hashtagging them. So paper stash smash. I really have. Okay. See you guys later. Cheers.